Hey there everyone, welcome to Tales in Text and I'm your host Nisha Prakash and this is Bite Size Bharata where you hear tiny tales from a grand epic. The Gandharva King Chitrangadha was a formidable warrior. He had spent years fighting other Gandharva kings and consolidating his power. On occasion, he battled and defeated Manavas and Asuras too, those who were either too insolent or too stupid enough to stand in his way towards land and power. For years, he had developed a formidable reputation of being unbeatable. He was called Unvanquished Chitrangadha, a title that he was extremely proud of. But a few years later, people started talking about and praising a different Chitrangadha, that too a mere man. And the Gandharva king was incensed. He wanted to put the human in his place and regain the title of Unvanquished Chitrangadha. One day, right after the first pre-monsoon showers had ceased, a loud boom echoed the streets of Hastinapura. It wasn't thunder, no, but the thundering battle call of the king of the Gandharvas. Terrified citizens rushed indoors. Generals of the army took up weapons and ordered the soldiers to assemble. Bhishma, concerned that the city may be under siege, donned his armor and rushed out. Accompanying him, wearing his own armor, was the young king Chitrangadha. As the two Kuru royals walked out to the gates of the city, they saw a single warrior sitting astride a powerful muscular horse. The king and his brother were taken aback. The loud battle call made it seem like an entire army was waiting for them. But in front of them, there was just one warrior. Although this warrior did seem to possess the courage of an entire battalion, even though he did not have anyone else with him. Looking at the man, Bhishma immediately realized that this was no mere Manava. There was a unique aura around him that made Bhishma sure that he was a divine or semi-divine creature. He turned to Chitrangadha and whispered, "Rajan, this warrior does not seem to be who he appears. Be careful." A few tense moments passed and the Gandharva King Chitrangadha spoke loudly for all to hear. "So, who is this Manava King Chitrangadha, the one everyone seems to praise as the greatest warrior in Bharatavarsha? Identify yourself." King Chitrangadha of the Kurus stepped forward, looked the challenger straight in the eye, and replied in a calm, clear, and loud voice. "It is me. I am King Chitrangadha of the Kurus, the Unvanquished." An expression of annoyance flitted across the Gandharva's face. He slowly smiled, an expression that did not reach his eyes. "Prepare to fight, Manava, and I'll put you in your place and show the worlds, all the lokas, just who is the truly unvanquished Chitrangadha." Before his brother could reply, Bhishma stepped forward and asked, "Wait. Before you issue a challenge to our king, may we know who you are? Our Shastras say a warrior must fight only with those in his station, not below and not above." The Gandharva started laughing loudly. "Such rules of conduct and warfare do not apply to us Gandharvas. But because you asked, know that I am King Chitrangadha of the Gandharvas, and I challenge this Manava King Chitrangadha to a battle to prove his mettle. There can be only one unvanquished Chitrangadha in all the lokas. There is no space for the both of us in this small world. I challenge you, Manava King, to fight me in a one-on-one combat. Use any and all tools and weapons at your disposal and defeat me. I will do the same. The last Chitrangadha standing will be known forever as the Unvanquished Chitrangadha." The invitation to combat had been extended, Bhishma felt a deep unease when he heard these words. He knew almost instinctively that something was not right, that his king, his brother, should not fight. He whispered, Rajan, don't accept this challenge. I feel something is amiss. King Chitrangadha of the Kurus turned and looked at Bhishma and said, Brother, do you really fear this battle so much? Do you really think I cannot defeat this forest-dwelling boaster in just a few clever moves? Is that all the faith you have in your king, brother? Saying so, he started laughing. Pride and confidence suffused the entire being of the Kuru king. He said, I accept your invitation to combat. Prepare yourself, Gandharva. Prepare to leave this earthly body of yours after I cut you down. Both combatants walked towards each other. The citizens of Hastinapura rushed out of the city gates to watch what promised to be a fight that generations would remember. For his weapons, the Kuru King Chitrangadha chose his trusted sword and bow and arrows. The Gandharva King Chitrangadha came only with a sword in hand. The Kuru king, on seeing this, laughed and said, Well, are you sure only a sword is sufficient for you? I mean, don't make this so easy for me, Gandharva. Give me a good fight at least. I enjoy one. The Gandharva king, now visibly annoyed, replied, Oh yes, I have all the weapons I need, Manava. Enough talk. Let's fight. Battle calls tore through the throats of both fearsome warriors. The two Chitrangadhas rushed towards each other, swords in hand. As the first blows were struck, the clanging of the two swords could be heard kilometers around Hastinapura. The Gandharva moved faster than the Kuru king thought was possible. Every strike seemed to miss its mark. Finally, Chitrangadha, the Kuru king, was able to tear through his opponent's clothes and in that moment of distraction used his entire body to tackle and throw down the Gandharva king to the ground. Angry, the Gandharva thrust the Manava off his body and jumped up. Before the Kuru king could react, the Gandharva sliced through the air and landed a deep cut on the Manava king's arm. Gasping in pain, the Kuru king dropped his sword. Taking this chance, the Gandharva kicked the sword away before his opponent could reach it again. He laughed. Is this all the fight you have left in you, Manava? Taunted the Gandharva. You forest dweller, spat the Kuru king. I'm just getting started. Taking his bow and stringing it with arrow, the Kuru king swiftly launched his counterattack. The Gandharva king did not know what hit him, as a torrent of arrows engulfed him completely. He used his sword to deflect these arrows, but in vain. Excluding a few, many of the Kuru king's arrows lodged deep within his body, drawing blood. The Gandharva king doubled down and landed on his knees in pain. He felt his strength ebbing away. He could hear the Manava's laughter and retort saying, Guess you're the one out of moves now, O forest dweller. It goes to show that I am still the real unvanquished Chitrangadha. The Gandharva king could not stand the sight of his honor and his pride being slighted. He knew he was gravely injured and probably would not win this battle. But he would not let this puny human take away his hard-earned title, the one he spent decades building and reinforcing. Since he could not defeat the boy in a fair fight, the Gandharva knew just what he had to do. Rising on shaking feet, still attacked by a shower of sharp arrows, the Gandharva looked at the Kuru king with deep-seated hatred. He said slowly, I am not out of all my moves, Manava king. I still have one more move left. and it is all I need to take you down. Saying this, the Gandharva king raised his arms and let out a guttural shout. Focusing deep within himself, he called out to the elements and invoked the deep Gandharva magic lying dormant in his veins. His body started convulsing as a faint glow suffused him. The Kuru King Chitrangadha stopped shooting his arrows, confused and awestruck at the sight before him. He'd never seen anything like this before. The Gandharva's eyes filled and shone with the same glow, and he looked less mortal and more divine. The tips of his fingers crackled with pulsating energy. He bent down and picked up his discarded sword. He whispered to it, "May my Maya suffuse the sword completely, and may the sword meet my greatest enemy. May it sever his head and dispatch him to the regions above. May my sword never miss its mark." And screaming, he flung the magic-infused sword with all his might, where it flew with a vengeance, streaks of raw energy and Maya spilling in its wake, and with a speed that did not allow the Kuru king a chance to defend himself. Before Chitrangadha could even string another arrow, the Gandharva sword hit its mark, severed the Kuru king's head right off its body. As the decapitated head rolled onto the ground with a loud thud, there was a moment of complete stillness and silence. Then the citizens of Hastinapura let out horrified wails, aghast at what had happened. Bhishma stood frozen in shock, his eyes reflecting disbelief at a fight that had gone so wrong. "Yes!" came the loud, triumphant shout of the Gandharva king. Then, teetering on his feet, he crashed to the ground, blood spilling from his injured insides and foaming at his mouth. His last words before he lost his life, "I did it. I am the true unvanquished Chitrangadha. The world will never forget it. The world will never forget me." And with that, he gurgled and spluttered out blood, and then lay motionless, dead under the weight of the attack. With the end of the battle, the Gandharva's mortal glory remained. It was remembered not with pride by his people, but with sorrow, anguish, hate, and helplessness by the Kurus. For with his victory, the Gandharva King Chitrangadha had taken away their beloved King Chitrangadha, and the Kuru lineage once again faced a most devastating loss. The loss of a son, the loss of a brother, and the loss of a king. Thanks for listening. If you liked what you heard, like my video and subscribe to my channel. I'm Nisha Prakash, and this was Bite Size Bharata, where you hear tiny tales from a grand epic. I'll see you next time on Tales in Text.